KBRP-LP Bisbee, KBRPradio.com, KBRP's YouTube channel. If you are at home listening to our mayoral forum taking place at St. John's Episcopal Church here in Bisbee. I'm Mike Thornton, host of KBRP's Weekly Magazine. My pleasure to be with you this evening. We have our four candidates for mayor: Amy Berger, Charles Flanagan, Carl Stetter, and John Waniak here. They took questions from our journalists in the first hour, and in the second hour, we're going to get to as many audience questions as we can. So, I'm once again asking you to keep your answers as succinct as possible, and now I'll shut the hell up and get to the questions. The first one's for you, Charles Flanagan, at least I assume it is. At the candidate forum held at the Gay 90s, Flanagan said one of the challenges for our downtown is that the stores all sell the same thing. Can he elaborate on that?
Good. Yeah, sure. I honestly do not recall saying that in that fashion. I talked about the challenges that businesses have with the business model, and I think the question was related to the business model that they have. I can't tell a business how to run their business. They know better than I do. And if you're dependent upon tourism, obviously you're going to be open during the days when the majority of the tourists are there. However, I also know that there are a lot of tourists that are walking through downtown on days that are non-traditional. I see them with maps in their hands, looking for places to go. And there are a few restaurants that they can eat in and a few stores. So in response, I would say that I would want to help to support them as best I can to expand what is available for the tourists that are there and help their businesses be successful according to their model.
Thank you.
Not as succinct.
This question is apparently for all of you. Pretty simple. Will you personally use the Bisbee Bikeways paths once they are completed? Amy, we'll go with you because that's where we would have started.
Sure, no problem. Oh, you got me? There we go. No, I will not use the Bisbee bike path. I am not coordinated enough to ride a bicycle. Let's just be, I can barely dance without hurting myself. So, but my husband runs that path multiple times a week, runs over to Warren, runs down to Lowell. And so I will be grateful that he will be safe on that path and I won't have to worry about him as much when he runs it.
So I don't think what Amy said is exactly true. She danced really well at the dance-off. No, my bicycling and running days are over. However, I will support it in every way possible because I think it's good for our community, and I'm really hopeful that we can get that thing going.
Well, you better bet your Bisbee butts I'm going to be on that bike path. I've got a 7-year-old daughter who now really loves to ride her bicycle. And so we will be absolutely taking full advantage of that. She actually turned to me while we were riding our bicycle up Main Street, which prompted a few calls to my mom, thinking people were a little bit afraid that we were riding on Tombstone Canyon. But she turned to me and said, "I understand why you did bike tours." And I asked, "Do you want to do a bike tour?" She said, "Yes." So hopefully, by the time she's ready, we'll also have that path all the way up to Nevada. We can take the Trails to Trail system and do a nice bike tour too.
Absolutely. And you might also catch me rollerblading down there too.
Thank you. Thank you all. This next question appears to be for everyone, and I'll do my best to read it. How would you describe your proximity and relationship with the city's business community? Would such proximity conflict with your affairs of city business? I'm assuming this is a conflict of interest question. And I believe, is it Carl's up next?
I'll start. Yeah, all right. So I'm great friends with all of the people that own stores here, or at least a good amount of them that operate stores here. And one of my favorite moments in town was also one of the saddest moments I experienced in town. Though I've experienced a lot, but my buddy Rich Creek, who owns a glass shop on Main Street, owned a dog named Saffron. And at one moment, she was sick and needed to be put down. And the vet was willing to come to Rich's shop where she spent most of her time, and all of the Bisbee business owners also showed up right there. I don't think I have much of a conflict of interest because I appreciate all of you and I want all of you to succeed. It doesn't matter if we see eye to eye or not, you're running a business. And so I will do my best to work for all of you.
Okay, so as a lot of you might know, I do tours here. So I do work for the Ghost Tours, and I work for Be Active, mostly as a contractor, but I am not a special interest guy. My interest is the community at large. That's it.
So I, as a small business owner myself in the past, I think I have a really good understanding, maybe better than most, of what it takes to run your own business. That said, I'm not a member of Bisbee Forward or the business, any business organizations here in Bisbee. I do, however, believe that they're vital to have an organization so that the city has one point of contact for those for the city to reach a number of businesses. I think is very important and helpful for the city's interaction with the business community.
So my proximity to businesses is as a customer for my family, my friends that come to visit us here and stay in Bisbee, and also as somebody that cares about the community. I want to see everybody be successful, but I learned very early on that you talk to the experts and you learn from them what's necessary, and I would do exactly as has been suggested, work with people to be as successful together as we possibly can.
So I may need a little bit of help with this one from whoever wrote it, because I don't know what it is, but perhaps you all will. How do you feel about the fact that the PSPRS is sinking the future of this community? What is PSPRS?
Public safety, personnel
It's the
retirement system.
Okay.
Yes, and that is true. It eats up over 60%. That's why my idea was to maybe shrink down at least the police department and throw in with the sheriff's department. But we do need more attention to the fire department, which they don't get. So
I guess I have a little bit of a different perspective on the PSPRS sinking the city. A number of years ago, I think that was true. The liability was snowballing out of control. And one of the things that Mayor Budge did was to get a bond issue and pay off that snowballing balance. And we are paying that off in regular installments. We're paying the bond off in regular installments. It's part of our budget every year. And we are not, we're paying also off the annual amount that is accumulating for the public service professionals that are working for us now. So I guess maybe somebody else has more information about it than me, but in my research, I feel like the PSPRS is not sinking the city.
So Amy's correct, and let me give you some numbers that are a little more accurate. About 61% of our budget, the city budget, goes to public safety, which is a broad thing. And PSPRS represents, I believe, about 24% of that 61%. So it's not 60 some odd percent. It's also a legal requirement. And it was good stewardship by the city to do what it did to fix a problem that had developed over time. And by the way, pension systems, retirement systems throughout the country are in the same situation. And if we want people to be able to work and retire, then those need to be supported. It is something that we are managing well, not necessarily as ideally as we would like, but it is at a point where we are in a good fiscal position with PSPRS, and it is a requirement, by the way.
Yeah, I very much remember when this actually came to a head, and the city government was scrambling because it turned out that we hadn't been paying into it, and it did snowball, as Amy pointed out, and it was sinking our ship pretty fast. Ken Budge did do a good job with this bond to help us pay it down. It allows us to get on top of it, and as Charles Flanagan said, I'm not here to remove or pull out somebody's retirement. If you worked for us, that is important. I also agree with John Wayniak that there are services that we could be capitalizing on with the county, and maybe lessening our responsibilities that way. And I do really strongly agree with John Wayniak that the fire department needs as much support as it does get, as it can get, because we are in this small little canyon. um, but yeah, so I agree with Amy and Charles that this problem that was very much a problem has started to become less of a problem. It does still need to be better managed, but we are much better off than we were, 15 years ago when it first came to head. So
You are tuned to KBRP-LP Bisbee. The next question, how would you balance the fear of loss of federal or state funds with the need to support our citizens who may be gay, lesbian, trans, and in fear of being deported? I'm thinking this might be tied to the library possibly being denied some money. I don't know that for sure, but how would you address this?
It's interesting that you bring up the library funding being lost. I'm treasurer of the Friends of the Library, and that one was very near and dear to my heart. Adelita Grijalvo had suggested that we put this in. She put this in as her #1 funding request, and it was denied for 2 story times that were held that were gay friendly. Gay. It was what was it was drag story time. Thank you guys. Drag story time. That organization is highly educated in early literacy education, and they do a wonderful job of that. This program was also requested by community members, and so it wasn't like the library just went out on their own and did that. The staff at the library discussed it with the city manager and decided to go ahead. So that was a community decision that was made.
So I just attended an Egyptian evening at the Warren Peace Cafe. For those of you that don't know, there's an Egyptian citizen married to an American citizen living in our community who was arrested by ICE and is now basically going to self-deport because of this incredibly fascist environment that we're seeing develop around us. And it's incredibly frightening to me that we see that, and we need to stand up against it. However, the reality is that Adelita Grijalva did a wonderful job in getting these funds for us, and they were taken away for ideological reasons. And that is just not acceptable. My hope is that the midterm elections bring some checks and balances into play. And it is my belief that Adelita will fight for those to be restored, as the city will as well. We must always fight for our community. When we first moved here, one of the things that I noted immediately was how friendly we are to these communities, LGBTQ and immigrant communities, and we need to stay that way.
my daughter went to both of those drag story hours. It had little effect besides the fact that she enjoyed the stories. These types of things that are happening within our government are alarming to many of us. But I know first and foremost that our community stands strong in its beliefs and its support and its love for everyone. That's one thing that I'm so proud of the town of Bisbee. I got to walk in the Pride Parade this year with St. John's Episcopal Church because my daughter wanted to join the parade and they offered us a spot in there. And so we got to march along with them, and that was wonderful, and they had a great time. This is one of those things that we have to stand up as a community, even when we are being pressed against, and being told that we have to change. Drag Story Hour wasn't that big of a deal, and there's no reason for our funding to have been pulled from our library, which is absolutely one of the best libraries in the whole country. But I know that all of us will stand up when it is needed. So I know that we might continue on. We might have to experience this over and over again because there are people that are bigoted and hateful out there. But we will stand up, and that's what I trust in our community.
All right, so unfortunately, anytime you take government funding, there's always rules attached to it, and you got to be careful. You got to choose which hill you want to die on. So either get public funding, or I'm not saying I agree with what they did, but public funding would be the answer. Then we wouldn't have to follow all those rules. Thank you.
Thank all of you. Besides, oh, I just love Bisbee, what actions and words can you as a mayoral candidate say to assure longtime and native Bisbeeans that all wards and all groups of us will be served by you?
Ready? Thank you very much for that question. I've said all along that my hope is that I represent the entirety of Bisbee, no one constituency, no one community. I've been reminded many times we keep on saying things like San Jose and Old Bisbee and Warren, but there are other neighborhoods too, and we need to make sure that we remember that. To be that supportive and to represent all means that you have to listen to all, you have to consider their issues, and you have to make decisions that are in the best interests of those people.
Yeah, I agree. We are a large community. I may have bought a house in Old Bisbee. It was probably one of the last affordable houses in Old Bisbee because of my neighbor who's a cat hoarder. But before that, I lived in Bisbee Junction. My sisters lived in San Jose. San Jose tends to be the place where affordable housing still exists in Bisbee. And we have this wonderful project that's happening with the Bisbee Science Center and the Backyard Project. And I think that's going to help expand. But we need to also focus on all of these other communities to make sure that they are being fulfilled in their needs as well. Having most of families living out in San Jose, and we haven't had a park there, a real functioning park there for how many years now? Like I said, this backyard project is going to be a great step, but it should be expanded upon, and we need to make sure that San Jose gets really represented. Same with Saginaw. Saginaw is also a place of affordable housing. And people can buy houses there when they're still on a single family income and trying to raise a family, but they don't really have the services in Saginaw. They don't have a nice park either. We're lacking a lot in a lot of the places around Bisbee that still need our support and our love. So I hope that we would all be working together. My goal isn't just to focus on Old Bisbee, but the entirety of the community.
I pretty much agree with the rest of them, what they said. So, San Jose, though, does have lots of children. They need a park. Maybe we could do a splash pad that's not that expensive, stuff like that. But just reach out to Bisbee as a whole. We're all Bisbee all together. Thank you.
We are three distinct neighborhoods, but we are one community. We have very different needs and cultures actually within each of our neighborhoods. But I think it's important that we listen to everybody's perspectives, and that's why I've been hosting coffee meetups in all three wards so that people can come out and meet with me and talk with me about their concerns. I had a lovely conversation last week, I guess it was, with Elvia and Anna out in San Jose about the fact that they have to walk on the highway when they want to get their steps in because there's no walking path. So they don't have a place to gather for coffee in San Jose. We do have a lot of opportunities. There's a new senior center proposal that's going to be shopped around for developers, and they're proposing to build that out in San Jose. So and the backyard project, like was mentioned, is going to be a huge asset. The new expansion of the library annex and the senior and the science center annex is also a huge opportunity for San Jose. I'd like to see some more businesses brought back to Warren. We've lost a Copper Pig and we've lost Ballpark Brewing. We would like to get those back.
Let the audience here and at home know that in 10 minutes, we will be going to closing statements by the candidates. So I will ask you to, you don't have to be full lightning, but half lightning on these. The Hillcrest building has 31 apartment units. What can Bisbee do to make these dwellings available to young people?
All right, I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible. If you want to hear more about my ideas on Hillcrest, stop me anytime. The Hillcrest apartments have that space that we are desperately needing in those apartments. That was closed for safety reasons, and I know that Bisbee has problematic history of selling buildings, large buildings, to developers who haven't actually fulfilled their promises. So we have to be careful. I would love to see Hillcrest get developed and become apartment buildings again, but we can't just go selling it willy-nilly and expect something to happen when that developer decides to change its mind, as what's happened with the high school.
Oh, I agree. Unfortunately, Hillcrest got shut down. I don't know all the reasons, but I also know they were behind on the sewer bill. That's extremely high. And it's unfortunate because that is a great place for affordable housing. So hopefully we can develop that.
My understanding is that the city has Hillcrest back on the market and has had some interest in it being for prospective developers. So I'm hoping that in the very near future we all hear good news on that, and it will be turned into apartments again. That would be fantastic.
Knock on wood that in fact happens, and I've heard the same thing. My statement would be remiss in not talking about the fact that the city has remediated a lot of the problems in Hillcrest and spent a significant amount of time and energy and resources so that it is in fact marketable. And we need to remember that. It's part of a larger discussion about all of the properties that the city owns and what we should do with those properties. But this is a very important one. It's a shame to see that go to waste.
Do you make efforts to keep your supporters from telling falsehoods and making personal attacks? If so, have they been successful?
I haven't heard about any of my supporters making false attacks or anything. So yeah, it's just, this is a friendly competition here. There's no reason to get into the weeds or, throw derogatory terms at people we don't agree with politically. So I won't do that.
There are passionate people in this community, and they are sharing their views and their perspectives. We have made every effort, and Charles and I met yesterday for coffee to just discuss what's been happening a bit. We've made every effort to have a positive campaign, and we have asked our supporters to stay positive. On the other hand, I think that we have to remember this is a democratic process, and people have a responsibility to research all of us. And if there are things in our past that are concerning, then they should be brought to people's attention in a respectful way, in a information sharing way, not in a derogatory or a nasty way, but in an effort to share that information.
It's going to be hard for me to be concise here, but I'll try really hard.
Try really hard.
Try really hard. So I absolutely agree that that we are subject to questions about our past, and in a position such as mine, being so high profile, there are things that are going to come up, and I have absolutely no problem responding. My problem is I have responded. I've posted articles, I've responded to those issues, and yet there's still a core group of people that present that information out, and others buy into that information. I don't think anybody here is doing that. And, we are all trying to do our best for the city. And I would hope that people, as I wrote in the paper once before, not about myself, but about the mayor and council, are civil in our discourse, certainly respectful. But listen, if you have questions, ask them. And once answered, if you disagree, that's fine, but take the response. Thank you.
I'll be quick. I've lived in Bisbee long enough to know that people talk and people have opinions. And they're strong about them. And more important than any of us, I know my supporters aren't out there talking mad, trash about these other candidates, because I tell them all that they are wonderful people, because they are. For Bisbee, like you just have to be prepared that Bisbee is going to be opinionated. They're probably going to throw some mud at you, and know that that's okay. You can throw mud at me. You can bring up my past, and that's okay. I'm all right with that. I'm happy to have it. But just not the rumor about the gigolo coming back up again. I don't need that in my life.
This is likely to be the last audience question. We had a lot of them. I apologize for not being able to get to all of them. 1 minute each. Here we go. I'm assuming this goes on the basis of you becoming mayor. How do you plan to incorporate the great ideas and skills of the other candidates into your annual plan?
Great question. I would love for all of us to commit to being a part of whatever administration we have going forward. I think Charles has some amazing ideas and a passion for helping our unhoused population. Carl has obviously a lot of passion about the sustainable building communities and the information about that. Johnny has great ideas about how we can work as a community towards some of our public safety issues. I would like to have those people I would love to be able to work with everybody to be able to do what's best for Bisbee.
I concur. I've said all along that, this is my home. My wife and I live here for the rest of our lives. We care about the community, want the best for the community, and I'm not going to sit back and do nothing. I will do whatever I can to help. In fact, Amy and I talked about this very thing. We are all, I think, motivated by trying to do better for the community. Let's take advantage of that and make it an opportunity for us to work together for the betterment of our entire community.
If you guys do decide to elect me as mayor, I absolutely would love the support of Amy and Charles and Johnny. We are what makes this community, right? We are the passionate people that are here to stand up for you guys. And I don't think that Amy has any ill intention, or Charles or Johnny. We should all be functioning. And if you elect me mayor, I will absolutely be calling on Amy. I will absolutely be calling on Charles, and I'll absolutely be calling on Johnny, so we can move forward. We're supposed to move forward together, and we want to make sure that this town survives and thrives.
Absolutely, I agree with what they all set up here. And as the mayor, the whole community will be my advisors. So that's it.
Thank you all. And now we will go into closing statements, 2 minutes each. We're going to hold you to it. And why don't we just keep it simple? We'll just start with you, Amy, if that's okay. And we're on a clock. So closing statements from our candidates, 2 minutes each.
We cannot keep doing the same things and expect different results. We need leadership that brings experience in creative problem solving, innovative thinking, and bringing people to work together effectively toward a common goal. I'm excited about the ideas coming out of our conversations at the Saturday market in Warren, on the front porches in San Jose, and in the coffee shops in Old Bisbee. I've been so impressed and so energized by your constructive and positive responses. I believe in the people of Bisbee. We can do this together. Early voting starts on Wednesday. Vote for me. I'm ready to do the work. Let's get this done.
So I'm glad that Amy mentioned the early voting. I am just encouraging people to be engaged, to be involved in the process. This has been a learning experience for me. I love every question, every challenge, every opportunity to contribute, and I want to continue to do that. My 40 years of public service, 38 in state and federal government, have taught me that you need to contribute to the communities that you live in. That's what I would like to continue to do, and I would like to do it with you and for you. Thank you.
This community is beautiful and passionate, and I know that whoever gets elected, whoever you guys choose, is going to do the best of their abilities. And I know that the council is going to continue to stand for their constituents. You know, I am happy to be up here in front of you all for no more than the reason than I want to be able to do what I can to help facilitate the change that we need in this world. And I can't change the world. I can only help our local community. And I would love to see us become a more sustainable and thriving community. And I'd love to make sure that our soul stays where it is, because we have a soul still in this community. And there is a chance to lose it. And when you lose the soul, it's hard to get it back. It takes a lifetime. We have that lifetime soul now, so I want to hold it, and I will do my best to make sure that we move forward in the way that keeps Bisbee Bisbee.
All right, I want to thank all you guys, and this is a great community. I truly love each and every one of you guys, and I cherish you. And whoever you choose, it's who you choose. You know, you can't really lose here, so I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be here. And yeah, I'm there for you guys. If you guys have any questions ever, I'll usually at the Old Bisbee Coffee Shop from 7 to 9. So thank you.
Thank you. And let's give all of our Bisbee mayoral candidates a big hand. Let's also thank our journalists, Char Poirier, Laura Swan, and Matt Hickman. And our stellar tech crew. And those of you in our live audience here at St. John's and all of you at home. And I will turn it over to Fred Miller, the golden voice of the Southwest.
Hardly hardly golden. So thank you very much for listening in, for coming here in person, for the candidates, for the time that they're spending talking about building our community, to our journalists who showed up on a Monday night. I'm sure that was other things to be done. So in the spirit of many hands make light work, would the people in the last 3 rows, when you leave, take your chair outside? You are in the Methodist chairs, or the Presbyterian chairs. And the rest of you, would you put your chair right over there? You're in the Episcopalian chairs. So thank you very much for coming, and support our local community radio station, KBRP. Will you please? Thank you.